जो थर्ड आउटकम था प्लानिंग प्रोसेस का, वो इट वाज अबाउट अ फिनोमिनन दैट वी हैव कम टू कॉल द ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन। तो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन एग्जैक्टली क्या था और हमारी कंट्री में ऐसा क्या हुआ था कि ऐसा रेवोल्यूशन आया। सो विल बी लुकिंग एट दैट नाउ। And the pretext of the revolution was the fact that the country was going through a food crisis. The food crisis, which was which worst affected the state of Bihar, and there were many other states that were affected because of the food crisis. But because of this food crisis, there was a shortage of food production in the country, and this made the country vulnerable। क्योंकि हमारे देश में फूड ग्रेन्स की कमी पड़ रही थी, क्योंकि हमारे देश में फूड क्राइसिस चल रहा था। तो अब इतनी बड़े पॉपुलेशन को सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए फूड तो कहीं ना कहीं से मंगवाना ही पड़ता, बिकॉज दिस food is a necessity commodity. It's a commodity of necessity. So this made the country vulnerable about the fact that we'll have to import food grains into the country from other countries, mainly from the US. And if we were to import so much of food grain from US, it would make our country vulnerable to US, because then US would get access to the Indian market, and already the US was pressurizing pressurizing India to change its agricultural policies. So again, now importing food grains from US would make the country further vulnerable to US economy. So this was the pretext of what came to be known as the Green Revolution. Now what happened is, so we were having a food crisis and we had a serious shortage of food grain cultivation in the country. So the government adopted a new strategy in agriculture to ensure food sufficiency. So because of the food crisis, or in order to end the food crisis, the government had a major shift in its policies. Now, so far the government was trying to bring up the poor peasants and the poor farmers, and it was trying to develop the undeveloped or underdeveloped areas of the economy, right? It was so pro-poor until now, but this shift in the strategy, in the agrarian strategy of the government, was about this. They diverted their resources towards well-off areas and farmers. So what happened is, पहले गवर्नमेंट ऐसे लोगों को हेल्प करने की कोशिश कर रहा था जो बैकवर्ड थे, जो पुअर थे, जिनके पास कैपिटल ज्यादा अवेलेबल नहीं था, basically people who needed help and people who were not well off at all. And also it wanted to develop those areas that were that could be called backward. Now the government was putting its resources towards the development of these areas and of these people, but now the government diverted its resources and its attention to areas that were well off and to farmers that were actually doing well, because we'll study why, but this is what happened. So the shift of resources went from poor farmers in backward areas to richer farmers in well-off areas. This was done to increase production rapidly in the short run. क्यों किया गया था ये? क्योंकि जो पुअर फार्मर्स थे या जो बैकवर्ड एरियाज थे, उनको डेवलप करने में बहुत टाइम लगता, और उनको क्योंकि फूड ग्रेन कल्टीवेशन हमारे कंट्री में ऑलरेडी बहुत कम था, तो गवर्नमेंट अपनी रिसोर्सेज ऐसे लोगों पे अब ऐसे लोगों पे और नहीं यूज कर सकती थी. इट कुड नॉट कंटिन्यू टू हेल्प दीज पीपल एंड एग्जॉस्ट इट्स रिसोर्सेज इन हेल्पिंग दीज पीपल while the country was having a food crisis on the other hand. तो गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? गवर्नमेंट ने अपने रिसोर्सेज को डाइग्रेस कर दिया ऐसे लोगों में जो ऑलरेडी वेल ऑफ थे और जिनके पास ऑलरेडी प्रोडक्शन जिनकी काफी अच्छी थी ऐसे एरियाज में और ऐसे फार्मर्स के बीच में. तो उससे क्या होता, ये लोग दीज पीपल वर ऑलरेडी डूइंग वेल. and with a little bit more incentive and with a little bit more of resources, if these people were able to do better, then it would increase the food grain cultivation in the country, and it would end the food crisis that was happening in the country. So this move was meant to harm a particular section of the society, not harm, but to ignore a particular section of the society for the time being, for the greater good, for the benefit of the economy as a whole, because the food grain crisis affected the entire country. So the government diverted its resources towards well-off areas and richer farmers. This was done to increase production rapidly in the short run. Now these people, the poorer people or the backward areas, in order for their production to become profitable and to suffice such a huge population, it would take a really long time for these people to come to terms with that level of production. But on the other hand, people who were already rich and who already had resources and mechanisms of their own, and areas that were already fertile and doing good, that had already gotten irrigation facilities and that was being handled with through machines and tools and through modern agricultural equipments. These areas could rapidly increase food grain production in a very short span of time. That is why the government digressed its resources towards these areas. So how did the government actually help these areas? The government offered HYV seeds, fertilizers, pesticides and irrigation at highly subsidized prices. Now these are modern agricultural equipments, right? So these are because the country used to adopt primitive methods of farming so far back, back then. But then these modern techniques and these modern methods would actually help farmers to to increase their agricultural productivity, to obtain more benefits out of the same proportion of land, and with less manual labor. They would have to do less manual labor. The machines and the equipments would do most of the work for them, and the agricultural productivity would also increase. So these were given to people at highly subsidized prices, because back then because agriculture was not such a profitable business where you could spend a lot of money on investments. You couldn't spend a lot of money on new modern technologies and gadgets, but these were given at subsidized prices so that everybody could afford them, and so that it would actually help to increase food grain production in the country. Also, the government promised to buy the produce of the farmers in case they were producing too much and in case it didn't get sold in the market. So in that way, the government was actually giving them an incentive to increase productivity. So this was basically incentive to increase production. So was this, by the way, this giving away modern agricultural methods and equipment at subsidized prices was also an incentive for the people to buy these things, to actually pay for these things, utilize these things, and increase the production, which would further away help end the food crisis. Now this move of the government is actually what started the phenomenon of Green Revolution. Now the government actually in a way it helped the rich farmers, and it helped well-off areas to prosper more, and it wanted to increase food grain production rapidly in the country, which is exactly what happened. Food grain production had ultimately increased as the government had hoped it would. And because of that, this phenomenon of Green Revolution came into work. So the effect of this move by the government, the effect of the government giving away these HIV seeds, and because HIV seeds again were another thing that helped to increase productive capacity of each crop, right? So fertilizers, pesticides, these things actually helped in increasing food grain production in the country. And not just any other food grain or food crop, particularly wheat, because wheat was a very prime and staple food for a majority of the Indian population, and this was given a lot of importance during the Green Revolution. So it led to a rise in wheat production, which further helped to solve the problem of food crisis, and which helped to ensure sufficiency of food grain cultivation of in the economy, right? So because otherwise we would have to continue to be dependent on food grain imports from other countries, which would in turn make our country vulnerable to external pressures, and we didn't want that to happen. The Indian government was already very much protective of its domestic industries and its domestic economy, and it wanted to protect the domestic economy from external pressures as long as it was needed and as long as it could have. So that is why avoiding any external pressures was a major priority of the government back then. So with the help of the government, and with so many incentives that were given out by the government, food grain production increased in the economy, which was mostly limited to wheat production. But then there were other effects of this Green Revolution thing that happened. There was increased polarizations between classes and regions. Now, the government, like we discussed earlier, it shifted its resources from the poor farmers and from backward areas to richer farmers and well-off areas. So the poor and backward continued to remain poor and backward, while the rich got richer, and it helped, it earned more profits, and now it obviously because when you become richer, when you become wealthier, it kind of gives you a sort of political influence, right? So that is exactly what happened. So the rich continued to get richer, and the poor remained poor or became poorer still. So this increased polarizations. Now the gap between the rich and the poor was wider than it was before, and it was still increasing. So that's one of the effects of the Green Revolution, or whatever incentives were given by the government to increase food grain production. Another thing that happened was left-wing organizations were able to organize poor peasants. Now the poor peasants suddenly, they suddenly felt lost, because the help that they were getting from the government so far was taken away for certain purposes. But now these people were no longer getting that help. So left-wing organizations were able to mobilize these people and to convince them that whatever was done to them was wrong and they should rebel against it. So that is how they organized poor peasants, taking advantage of their conditions and of the sudden digression of resources away from them. So that is another political effect of the Green Revolution, that the poor peasants were mobilized successfully by left-wing organizations, because now they were left all by themselves. The fourth and the last effect of the Green Revolution was a rise of middle peasant sections. Now, the Green Revolution not only made the rich richer, but it actually helped in the upheaval of another section of peasants, which was the middle peasant sections, which had medium-sized land holdings. So these people were not very rich, but they had medium-sized land holdings, and already the government was giving them so many things at subsidized prices. So now these things wouldn't, because they are not very rich, so they cannot they cannot afford to buy modern technologies at really high prices. But since the government was giving these at subsidized prices, this section of peasants were able to take advantage of that with whatever money they had or they could gather, and they were able to make profits out of this. So this led to the rise of this middle peasant sections, who later on became politically very influential. So these people became politically influential. So this is basically the political effect of the Green Revolution. Green Revolution is basically, as the name suggests, it's about food grain production, and how it had rapidly come to increase in a country that was facing a food crisis or a shortage of food grain cultivation. But then this actually talks about the political aspect of the Green Revolution, or what happened thereafter. And these are all major outcomes of the planning process that the government had started. हमने तीन डिस्कस करी हैं अभी तक, the first two that we discussed, and the third effect being this one, the Green Revolution. But then if we go by the book, there's another another outcome of the planning process, which is named as later developments. So that would be the fourth one, later developments, which is not very important to discuss, and it's not something that comes in exams and all. But to sum it up, what it basically includes is the fact that after a few years of the planning process, especially after Prime Minister Nehru's death, there was a change in leadership. So initially, after Nehru's death, it was Shastri who came to power, but then within 2 years of his prime ministership, he also had a mysterious death. He also died. And then Nehru's daughter, Indira Gandhi, was the one who succeeded Lal Bahadur Shastri as Prime Minister, and she was someone who claimed to have a pro-poor ideology, and she made her government all about the pro-poor ideology, and she initiated a lot of policies and programs that were meant to benefit the poor. But these policies and programs were they actually did not get implemented much, and they actually didn't benefit the poor as much as the Prime Minister had claimed that it would. And later on, even though the practice of planning continued, but basically its importance declined because it wasn't really working out anymore, and it didn't really give any more benefits. So the importance of the planning initiative declined after a few years. That's all there is in this chapter. This chapter was basically about planning and how it was done, how it started, and what were its outcomes.